Yeah, so coming to you from a different place this morning, Redwood Racks. And so we're just going to dive in. And it's a bit late because we're in a different place. We have to move stuff about anyway. We're here and ready to rock. You've written a song, Jackie?
Yes, that's what you say. But you just ran into a chair for a bench or something.
Both of the chairs in the theater. I was coming here and I landed like both shins. Bam! Both of them on the metal edge of the fucking chair. I swore a lot. I think I'm okay. Let's do this one.
Just gonna
I know,
fluff
exactly.
your feet.
It's gonna go
There you
away.
go.
It's gonna go away. And all's gonna be good.
You rub it really hard.
And I wrote a song that went like this. I'll see if I can remember it.
Okay.
I'm gonna take your heavy heart, gonna put it in my little red car, gonna pull you on down the road till you feel a little better. Then you'll take my heavy heart and you put it in your little red car, and together you and I will make it down the road. Woo, yeah!
I love it.
Thank you. Yay. That's my song I wrote this morning driving home. Nice. It's a creative morning. I'm gonna take my heavy heart, gonna put it in your little red car. I'll pull it on down the road.
I think we've got enough spaces. Barbara, you can have that yellow. You can have that yellow, or Jackie. Yeah. Hi, Katie. Thank you so much for the offer, the kind offer. Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Good thought.
All right, so this morning is mostly about senses and the choice that you get as an outcome of senses. So it's going to be a little bit strange because there are modes of recognition that create framework for understanding your senses. So a very easy way of putting that would be, okay, focus. So the moment you say focus, if you do that with your eyes, you say, okay, focus, then your eyes will go into focus mode, right? So that actually excludes the rest of the vision. So this morning, as we go through the senses, and I invite sensory perception, see if you can discern the places between where you're noticing what you sense is different from the habitual way you notice what you sense. So if you go, okay, I notice this, notice if your vision comes into a tight focus. Or if you bring your ear to hearing, notice if your hearing naturally or habitually goes to, oh, that's a note, where there's all the other weird things that are possible when you empty the sense from what you habitually return to. So this will be the same with when we put our fingers on the floor or we get in contact with the floor. See if you can empty the sense out so that you can notice what your habitual way of responding to the sense is, so that you can play with other alternatives. So, for instance, if your vision is emptied and then you fill it with the possibility of the 10,000 things, or you fill it with what is round space, so, and you can do that then with your introspective, your proprioception, what you notice on the inside, what you predict is going to be the feeling in a joint, and how you might change that into emptiness or flow, but the first place would be to notice what you do anyway. So this is where the dark comes into contact with Alexander technique, where it becomes all about the habit of noticing. So you can't change what you don't notice, and if you don't have a habit of noticing, then you can't change anything. So it's
Okay, I got that.
yeah, okay, all right,
So
and so on and so on. Yes,
Can I turn the heater off?
yes, yeah,
I
okay.
can do it.
No, I'm all about it. So the movements this morning are really, really simple. It's constructive rest, then hands out to the side, then you're going to flip her out to the side. Then you're going to flip a foot out to the side, and this will all be about noticing. And then you're going to roll over onto the side, and there's an invitation about the sides, which I'll go into. And then there's going to be some stuff on the front, flipping the legs out to the side on the front. And then there's going to be crawling up to the chair and then ascension. And then if we get to it, you're going to go up onto tippy toes, but the tippy toes is, yeah. So if I am going up onto tippy toes, I want to notice what takes me onto tippy toes. So if I'm going here and I begin to go up, I want to see if this is growing up in order to take me up. In the same way as the fingers grow up, I want to see if this is growing up rather than me compressing to go up. Yeah, that's a fun. Oh, one other thing. Can I use your towel for a second?
Yes.
So imagine this is growing up. So when you come up into this position, I'm imagining this is growing, even though I might be using my eye sense to bring my head up. If I concentrate or focus on my eye sense, then it may be that I begin to compress here. So in order to be drawn up, I want to grow up out of the spine. Yeah? All right, then in this position, I'm going to look towards my belly button to come back here. And then I'm going to look in order to rotate my head here. So that's towards the end, if we get to it. All right, have fun.
Thank you.
And again, if I come up and you don't want any hands on, just say sod off, James. Someone very kindly told me to sod off the other day. Sod off, sod off. And it's great because I get an understanding of that people have. Yeah.
So you don't have to say anything to me.
Yes. You might change your mind. That's the thing. Okay.
I mean, if I do, I'll say something, but I think it's.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's good. Okay.
Go ahead. I like it.
All right.
How would you decide if you were one of these or one of these in general? Just
The level of your head. If it feels like this is compressed by one of these, then go for one of these.
I never thought about it. I just grabbed the one.
And same with at the back. If it's not enough and you feel compressed there, then get one to do that. So the first port of call is from the dart perspective, the points in contact with the floor, the bony points in contact with the floor, which then give permission to release. Okay, let's see. Oh. So, bringing your attention to the point that's in contact with the block on the floor, and that point is an invitation for noticing. And I find that the game of where you play with the pattern matching system of your nervous system and your brain is such a fun game. And so that feeling of your occiput in contact with the block on the floor then that then also invites pattern matching or possible states of tension. So that point that is between your head and the floor is a way of you then being given permission to notice all the places where you hold habitually around your neck, around your face, and all the way down your spine. And in order to give that up, quite often the in-breath and the out-breath help that state. So on the in-breath, you bring your observing self to places of tension, and then on the out-breath, see what you can release or let go of. And that includes habitual ways of thinking about even that action. And so as I go through all the points of contact on the floor, the same game, I invite the same game. You can do, of course, do what you want, but the same game applies of what your habits of focus are, what your habits of tension are, what your habits of what those places are filled with are. And then see if you can invite breath to allow something different. So then, as you are lying there, inviting release around the head and neck, using this anchor point or this point of, I'm going to say focus. Let's see how that then relates to the points on the shoulder blades. Whatever points they are, they're in contact with the floor. And let your observing self scan for what you habitually hold on to, those bony points on the floor. And then ask yourself the same question of the points of the elbows that were on the floor. And also begin to connect those dots. Connect the dots of those points between your bony structure and the massive rock that we spin around on. And note all the different ways of perceiving as a result of this contact with the floor. So there is how your nervous system responds. Okay, yes, very much. The energetic system that's going all the way through these parts. There's also the muscular system. There's your interoceptive idea of what is in contact with what. So there's muscle, skin, there's your fascia, your bones. So that's all functioning at the same time. And you can bring your mind's eye to observing that as you're lying there. Then there is the whole idea of your kinesphere, where you can go, okay, I am this wide, I am this long. And then bring your mind's eye to the points that are in contact in the pelvis. And see what your habitual relationship is between all of these points. Of course, the spine is the most obvious one. But then also there is just the idea of those points being on the floor and what they mean. Is it possible to empty your anatomization of those things out completely? And then there are the parts of the feet that are in contact with the floor. And it could be that you feel the outside of the foot in contact with the floor, you feel the inside of the foot in contact with the floor. See if you can bring your foot, the idea of your foot as a pop-up tent on the floor. So you have those 3 points of the heel, the point behind the big toe, and the point behind the little toe. Or just notice what is in contact with the floor and see how that feels. Just see what changes when you think about the skin in contact with the floor. See what changes if you can just imagine the bones in contact with the floor. Is that okay, James, if I use my hands? Wow, James, you've been doing some great work, mate. This is great. So here, from this position, from a sense of what your body feels like in contact with all these points on the floor, and connecting between and asking the question, what do I habitually feel like in response to this? And play with the 5 major senses. And you can just rock this however you want, that you have the way that you focus the eye, the way that you focus the ear, the way that you focus what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, and play with that idea of focus. So if, for instance, it is something that you hear, then is it the sound of the fan? Is it the sound of the music? Is it the sound of the tinkly tankly of the hanging sculptures? What do you just go to if you go, okay, I'm gonna use this particular sense, and in using that particular sense, then asking yourself, how does that manifest itself in the rest of my body? And then you can ask yourself the same thing, but catch yourself by surprise to see if you can spot a bit of your body that's just held, or a part of your body that just responds to the moment that you use a particular sense. And it might be tricky to spot those things because habits are notoriously tricky to change or to notice, because you're used to doing them. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is to lay one of the arms out to the side and just let the knuckle lie on the floor. And once you have that extended arm, you might have that already, and that's okay. Of course, that's okay. Then what you're going to play with next is just feeling the fingers on the floor, just really actually just having fun with the feeling of the fingers on the floor and seeing what happens in the rest of the body and in your in the five senses as a result of that feeling on the floor. So part of this game is noticing what things habitually get switched off as a result of directing focus. Is it possible that the sense can just be part of the whole? And so we're going to just flipper that hand up and up and up. So the fingertips are going to find the floor and the wrist is going to slide. And you'll feel the arm slide as a result. And as you flipper, you can see what the tension of the flippering reveals all the way along the length of the arm. And then you can ask yourself, well, is it the habit that's causing the tension? That's the first question. The second question might be, can the tension be released if I increase the sensitivity accorded to the points of contact along the arm? And so the game can be, does choice of sensation bring about freedom of movement?
I'm having trouble with this leg system where it feels like when I release here, then this wants to go there. So then I'm like, no. And I keep adjusting and then I feel like I tense up here
Mm-hmm.
to hold that up. And then I'm like, no. And it just keeps going back.
And keep walking that that arm up to as high as you can, and then when you've got it moderately high, then you're going to fold that elbow and just place your finger on the very top of your head if you can. Is that it? This is going to go in. Oh, yeah. And that allows this to sink in like that. Yeah. So then the angle of the foot will determine which way that wants to be, rather than tension or disintegration in here. Yeah. Cool. So now you're going to flipper that side leg forward. So the flippering with the foot here is going to be fun, as you creepy crawly that foot along the floor, you're going to you don't have to. I was gonna come and give you some stimulus on your foot. As you creepy crawly the foot along the floor, at any point, if you go okay, I am feeling habitual tension in there, take a pause and see what it's like to feel the contact of gravity, that sensation, not only in the heel and the toe, but also all the way up into the pelvis, so that you can let the pelvis sink down. To allow lengthening in the rest of the leg. Okay, and once you have it extended, we're going to then play with some sensation here. You're going to look or hear or smell or taste or listen over towards the folded arm. You're going to roll over, but before you do that, just take a little moment to sense what's going on in your body at that point. So, let the sense bring about the freedom to move in that direction. Let the sense bring about the freedom to move in that direction. And as you turn, if you have your finger on top of your head, you're just going to let that tell you how you're going to pivot the head. Beautiful. That's beautiful, Jackie. Exactly. And then the other hand, the hand that's on the floor, is going to drift across you towards the folded arm, so that it's going to come right across here. You're going to feel all the way across the body so that you roll onto the side. Now, if you like, that foot, the foot that's on the floor, can come to the inside of the leg. And so you can have that sense, yes, of the leg going along the leg that's on the floor. So you're having a total sensation of your legs. So Barbara, here's a fun thing. Let this hand feel all the way across here, all the way up that arm. Yeah, all the way up there. Yes. And then if you like, this leg can come and search this. You can go, yeah, lovely leg. Yes, and lo and behold, you're on your side. And so the fact that you're on your side is a big deal, because I would say that a lot of our tension is generated from the idea that your sides are going to hold up your core. And that robs your core of the idea of being safe. So, as you're lying on your side, just relax that whole side into the floor. So you're saying, hey, all of those muscles right the way along the length there, you can be given a break. Ooh, yeah. Really, as you scan that side, you scan that system, you're finding out what you habitually use along the length of that side. Yes. And remember to use your breath as you do this. And use the sensation of contact with the floor to do this. So sensation gives you options. Sensation gives you options. Oh, yes, James. Yeah. And then you can begin, well, if you're done with releasing on this side, and there's a, there's a lot of vigilance. We have to be vigilant in 2026. That's apparently the narrative. But here, whoa, this is the eternal contact with the eternal earth, and you don't need that. You can breathe that away. So you don't need to hold your edges up. And then you can use your senses to come the other way. So you can, one way you can do this is to either look, actually I'm going to remove these blocks, unless you can either look or hear or smell, and you can begin to roll over to the other side. And use that hand, of course, you can use that hand to clock the top of your head. You're kind of rotating to some degree across the middle. And you can let either the idea of your bones unfurling across the floor take you to the other side, or you can use your contact of your skin across the floor to give you the option to come over onto the other side. It's the same game. So you can use your legs as you continue over to the side. Yeah, you use reach that arm up above the head, of course, so as you can lie on that. Yes, perfect. Perfect. And as you find the release of this side on the floor in relationship to the sensation, yes, yeah, Hal, great. Then what is left to hold you up if the sides have given way, if the sides are released? Well, the proposal is that your core, that being the spine and the skull and the top joint and everything around that, you then become the real purveyors of stability, the real carriers of the essential integration with movement, which comes from the periphery. If you're using your periphery for stability, then movement and stability become confused. So here, you're becoming fully aware of the role of the core. And this also will give you the idea that you are strong and integrated at your center. Yeah. Okay, so now you're gonna come onto all fours and onto the front, onto your prone. Not all fours yet, that's coming. Just into prone, you might have to shiggle yourself onto your towel a bit, and keep returning to the idea of sensation. So yes, exactly, Katie. So that every movement becomes a habitual invitation, an invitation to clocking what your habitual relationship with movement is. As you come into prone, let that sensation of what your whole front is feeling in relationship with the floor, see what choices that then brings for you. What choices of release. There is this principle of, particularly in scientific circles, about what happens when you observe something. That there is a conundrum in that sometimes the instruments that you use to observe something changes the outcome. And so as the observing self, you've got to be tricky with yourself in order to catch yourself by surprise in the system so that you can come to recognize what is habitual and what is innate. So, and you're gonna imagine there is something directly in front of you, the chair maybe, use that as an instigation that you're gonna look at that and gradually have a small bend upwards. But as you bring either your focus forward and up, or your ears, or your taste, you imagine licking the chair, then as you do that, you're gonna come up off the ground. So you're supported off your. This is more of a cobra, Jackie, than into that. So you're just gonna look up just for the time being, so that yes, yeah, that's it. And allowing this to grow up. That's beautiful, Jackie. Exactly. Using the top of the head. And so you can have an idea of what that position feels like if it grows up. Yes, exactly, James. And then you can unfurl back down onto the floor. That's great. Yes. Great. And actually, I think we are not going to have time to go into the recovery position. I'm going to come back, Jackie. Now we're going to come back into all fours. So you're going to look at your belly button and bring your hands under your shoulders and just slide back. If you can slide back with your head on the floor, so you can keep that. Yes. Yes, beautiful. Yes, Barbara. Yeah, yo. Might have to bring this hand back in towards. Yes. And when you get back into that position, it's going to have a tiny roll. Now, the head should have about 10% weight, and the rest being in the arms. And you're just going to look with your head so the weight informs the rolling. Yep. Really gentle. Gentle, and imagine extending down the spine. And if you can get the top of your head on the floor, imagine if you can get the top of your head. Yes. That's it. Yeah, still looking and rocking and rolling. Yeah, very easy. But also, what part of the ease is the sensation of your trigeminal nerve and the back of the head that comes out of really rolling that set of nerves there. And you're also sensing with your eyes and your ears. Okay. Nice. So then you can come down into your haunches. So you're going to let your butt come sit down on there. It doesn't need to go all the way down. Yeah. Some of the way down. Yep. And then just be there for a second. Just see if you can find a resting place there. And then you're going to sink into your pelvis, and you're going to sink into your arms so that you can press with your hands and come up onto all fours. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Yes, indeed. Great, Barbara. And then you can come straight up, or you can begin to. That's great. I mean, I'll tell you, I believe that we should jettison the chairs and come into that fold. Actually, Jackie, one of these weeks. And taking each little step as you slide, that making that contact, so important to invite the sensation that you want to choose to have. So there is a place where emptiness will bring about the possibility of an alternative. So is the alternative about flow? Is the alternative about the roundness of the joints? Is the alternative about the lengthening away? Is the alternative about growth? Is the alternative about energetic systems that enable the movement? Is it about the whole body moving? Wow. So you're evolving upwards. And then you can just let your fingertips come to the back of the chair. Or if you will, because you're extremely tall, then just play with how you get up onto tippy toes. How this brings you up off the heel, over the line of the body. Ooh. Yeah. And listening for that place where you're actually coming off, and is the roundness of the bones allowing this upward movement. Ooh. Yeah. Yes, beautiful. Yeah. And then from there, take a few steps back. Nice checking, James. Yes, exactly. Check what happens when, as if I said, okay, take a walk, then what is the habitual instigation of someone going, yeah, take a walk? You go, oh, right, off I go. Or I'm going, yes, I'm going to float and take a walk. Or is there that observing self interfering that allows, as Alexander would say, inhibiting or taking note of and making choice of how you actually would like to take a walk, how you actually use the senses to give choice about how you move forward. Just while you're experimenting with that this can also apply to any aspect of the nervous system, which includes thought, includes listening to what you want to eat. It includes where you want to be. It includes how you want to respond to an environment. You can have choice as a result of these senses and sensations. I think they've counted 64 different senses. And, I don't know how you jive with that, but certainly these ones right now give you enough information to make choices about what you actually want, how you actually want to move, how you actually want to think, what you actually want to remember, and how you actually want to remember it. Thank you, friends.